Monday to Friday, 12:45 to 2 p.m. The Lunchroom. Informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI. Food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International for Wednesday, the 16th of July, 2025. And it is program number 1410 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. Now, of course, in addition to 101.1 FM on radio, you can guess at our website. It is rcistlucia.com. And we are also streaming live on our Facebook page. And you just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International on Facebook. And please be sure to like and share that as well with your friends and family. Look back in time for today. And in the year 622, the Islamic era began with Muhammad and his followers beginning migration from Mecca to Medina. In the year 1054, the great schism between the Western and Eastern churches began when Roman Cardinal Humbert issued a bull of excommunication against Cyrillarius, who was the patriarch of Constantinople, on the altar of Hagia Sophia in Constantinople. In the year 1519, on this day, public debate between Martin Luther and theologian Johann Eck at the Pleissenburg Castle in Leipzig, during which Luther denied the divine right of the Pope. In the year 1809, on this day, La Paz in Bolivia declared its independence from the Spanish crown and formed the Junta Tuiba, led by Pedro Domingo Murillo, and that was the first independent government in Spanish America. And in 1940, on this day, Adolf Hitler orders preparations for the invasion of Britain. It was called Operation Sea Lion. And in 1945, on this day, the first test detonation of an atomic bomb occurred at Trinity Site, and that was in Alamogordo in New Mexico. And that was all part of the U.S. Manhattan Project. We want to send out some birthday greetings for today. And we've got a very special birthday greetings going out to Mrs. Cheryl McLaurin from Balata. And, of course, these birthday greetings are going out from her husband, with love, Mr. Philip McLaurin, on her very, very special day. So, Mrs. McLaurin, hope you're having a wonderful birthday. Hope you're not working too hard. And she's the IT manager over at the Ministry of Infrastructure. And we do hope that you're having a really, really wonderful birthday. And then just a bit, we're going to be taking in a call from our friends over at Republic Bank. And today is Wednesday, and so we do have Republic Corner coming up in a very, very short while. We also want to send out some birthday greetings to Mr. Donald Anthony. It's his birthday today. Hope you're having a fantastic birthday, Donald. And, of course, Donald is an individual who spent quite a lot of his time serving the country in forestry, protecting its biodiversity. He certainly is an expert in that area. And we do hope that you're having a very wonderful birthday celebration. It's also the birthday of Gina John. Happy birthday to you. Hoping that you have a fantastic birthday as well. We now head across to our dish of the day. The Daily Dish is brought to you the kind compliments of our good friends at Tiles Plus.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. it. All kind of tests come down to test plus. We also got gas and vanity. Boss, dos, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody, we got the best as an island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Jugozile, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Test plus.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to our program for today. And of course, as I mentioned, we are waiting a call from a representative of Republic Bank Eastern Caribbean Limited. So once we do get that call on air, we will head across to take in Republic Corner for today, for this week. And in fact, I can tell you that the focus for today is going to be on the entire matter of how to consolidate your debt. Debt consolidation is certainly quite useful, especially if you are able to get lower interest rates, and quite often you got multiple loans. So we're going to be speaking a little bit about that and how Republic Bank can assist in that regard. Now, before we get to that, of course, yesterday, and we've been looking at the fallout from what occurred a couple of days ago over at Sabina in Kingston, Jamaica. And there, unfortunately, was a pretty dire and unwelcome day for the West Indies, for the history of West Indies cricket, with the team scoring its lowest ever test innings total, a mere paltry 27 runs all out. And of course, that meant that Australia went on to succeed in a whitewash against the West Indies, winning all three tests, of course, in home territory for the West Indies. And that has raised lots of concerns. We've heard from the president of the WICB, and he has indicated that there will soon be an emergency meeting on the matter of the way forward with respect to West Indies cricket, and the involvement of some former legends, living legends of West Indies cricket are going to be incorporated into this meeting, in addition to those who already are part of a committee looking at the matter, including the likes of Sir Vivian Richards of Antigua, as well. Sir Clive Lloyd will be within that mix, and of course Brian Lara as well. So there has been, of course, as I mentioned, quite a lot of uproar all across the Caribbean, and I do believe that we have one set of sentiments coming out of Colin Murray of Trinidad and Tobago, sharing his views on the matter of where to move forward and how to move forward with respect to the situation with West Indies at the moment. And of course, we may not always agree with everything, but this is certainly one thought on the matter, and so we're going to share it now with the listening audience. And this is coming through TTT News out of Trinidad and Tobago.
Can you summarize your thoughts on what occurred yesterday?
Oh, that's difficult. I mean, you use the word disastrous. I don't know. I I don't know if that is the appropriate word, because I think it's worse than disastrous. I mean, you know, you could go back to 1912 when the Titanic sank, and everybody thought the Titanic, you know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It is embarrassing. It's the worst thing I've seen now with West Indies cricket. But you know what? It's a disaster that has been happening. And when I say happening, it was manifesting itself over the years. Let me first say I knew we would have lost all 3 test matches against Australia. I said that openly, that I don't expect to win any games But geez, not 27. I figured, okay, even if they get to 95, 75, 100, I mean, at least show some kind of determination. At naught for 3 and then 5 for 3, I thought the rest of the batsmen would say, okay, here what? Let us just put our heads down. Let us just stay in the wicket. Stay. So even if we don't score no runs, it's irrelevant. Let us stay, wear these bowlers down, get the, and even if we get single by single, and I thought they would have taken an example out of the heart and the fight and the courage and the determination that the Indian cricketers showed against England when all seemed lost, and poor Bumrah and Siraj brought them back on the brink of victory, 22 runs. When at one stage there were 90 runs when I think Bumrah came. And I am just looking to compare that kind of fight with what these guys showed yesterday. Now let me go further and say, I don't blame the players. The administration has let West Indies cricket down. All the boards, Cricket West Indies, because they have done nothing over the years. Look at our 4-day cricket. I mean, you're playing 2 games and you rest for 2 weeks. You play 2 games and what sort of cricket is that? We need 4-day sustained cricket. We need red ball cricket. I've been saying that over and over and over. Look here in Trinidad, everybody know T20 cricket, T20 and then T10. And a set of nonsense. And nobody's studying red ball cricket. And we get in our tails beaten left, right, and center. And I mean, it is disastrous. Listen, the poor players, I feel for them. My only criticism of them is that yesterday, when the chips were really down, they should have shown more fight. But you know what? Maybe they're just not good enough. Maybe, I don't know. But, Cricket West Indies, I mean, look, it's just a disaster. We have to start over. We need to rebuild from the bottom. We need to look at all our board structures. We need to understand what our boards are doing to develop cricketers, etc. And the Cricket West Indies, they just can't sit back. They're just sitting back and say, okay, do your thing now, do your thing. And what? They're doing nothing of red ball cricket. Because you know what? Everybody's talking about T20 and 50 over cricket. And in the red ball version, we getting embarrassed day by day. And you know what? I hear people talking about when ICC want to introduce a tier 2 divisions. Well, you know what? We could very well in the tier 2 division. We're going to play in Nepal and Kenya and all these Papua New Guinea. So don't quarrel and don't complain. But Cricket West Indies and the rest of the administrators get us there.
Mr. Murray, the president of Cricket West Indies, Dr. Kishore Shallow, released a statement this morning stating the despair and the horror that occurred. And he mentioned that it's in the rebuilding phase and CWI continues to steadily invest in younger players. Do you think that is just lip service he's paying to West Indies cricket and West Indies supporters?
Lip service? That's big mouth service. That's nonsense. How you could be rebuilding and you pick a 33-year-old captain, you pick a 34-year-old vice captain. Look at you bring back Campbell, 34 years old. You stick with Braffett, right? Where is the young people? You're bringing Louis, you're bringing Anderson, but when you bring them in and at a stage where things bad. No young player want to come into a losing team and things like that. Where are the young fellas? You come back with hope. I mean, it's disastrous. Why you didn't look for a young captain? What happened to Athanaze? You just discard Athanaze out. What? Don't ask me about the Silva. What about Django? But you know what? If I frighten to call those names, because they will say, well, you're a Trinidadian. But they must have a good young Imlak. Give him a chance. Give the young fellas a chance. Let me tell you something. If you give a lot of them younger fellas a chance, like the Da Silvas and maybe Django and Imlak, I don't think they would have succumbed like that. I could be wrong. Maybe we would have made 15. I don't know. But don't give me this thing about you're rebuilding. How you rebuilding? You name a 34-year-old captain or a 33-year-old captain and a 34-year-old vice captain, and you want to tell me you're rebuilding? So when the two of them go, as who you put in as captain? Another 34-year-old? Look,
And
Sorry, you're getting me a little emotional, and I don't like to get emotional.
I
Let me
understand.
cool myself.
I understand, Mr. Murray. And my final question for you is, do you think the coaching staff is competent enough to coach red ball cricket in the Caribbean?
No, they're not. And again, you see, we have this thing about treat our own or give it to our own. And I have no problem with that if you're capable. Okay? If you're capable. But England, don't they have a New Zealander coaching them? You know, and maybe, and I haven't done this homework. I know of England because it's happening now. I know India have an Indian coaching them. But my point is, whether it's West Indian, English, Australian, whatever, you need to get the best. At this point in time, Cricket West Indies need to get who they feel, in their opinion, by resumes and by whatever performance they have done over the years in red ball cricket, to bring them on board. We need help. The players need help. And at the moment, we just don't have the qualified enough coaches to do that. We have to go outside. If there's nobody in the region to do it, and I'm not seeing anybody at the moment, I could be wrong, and I apologize. If there's anybody in the region that is capable of coaching the red ball team, fine. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Go outside and find somebody, whether he's from New Zealand, Zimbabwe, or Yoho. If he's capable enough, bring him in. We need help. The players need help. And that is the only way we could move forward with the coaching of these young fellas.
And of course, there, coming out of TTT News, the sentiments of Mr. Colin Murray, cricket commentator out of Trinidad, former also player of the game. And of course, there are a lot of those sentiments floating out there right now as we look at the current predicament of West Indies cricket. And, one expression also coming from that of former great batsman Brian Lara. And, in fact, article being brought across by Money Control online is that West Indies Cricket Board is to be blamed for the downfall of West Indies cricket, according to Lara. And the article reads as follows: Cricket West Indies CWI called for an emergency meeting in the wake of a humiliating 3-0 series defeat against Australia. While the loss has triggered concern, the decline of West Indies cricket has been evident for some time, with several players opting for franchise leagues over national duty. What made the defeat even more worse was that the West Indies got bowled in an innings which is now the second lowest record total in history of Test cricket. Coming back to the players and board topic, the latest blow came from with former captain Nicholas Pooran announcing his retirement from international cricket at just 29. West Indies legend Brian Lara squarely blamed the cricket board for the current state of affairs, asserting that CWI has failed to create an environment that encourages players to stay committed to the national team. Quote, "You have a lot of guys who are deciding on what to do with their careers. You have aggressive players like Pooran, who retired at 29, and honestly, it's pretty clear why they did. There are 5 or 6 leagues around the world, and they're able to make a substantial amount of money playing in them," Lara said on the Stick to Cricket podcast at cricket.com. Quote, "I have no problem with that. The truth is, I don't think the West Indies Cricket Board or the administration has done anything meaningful to keep players loyal to West Indies cricket, unlike what boards in countries like England, Australia, or even India have done." It goes on. "So naturally, our players are going to look elsewhere. And when you see players like Kane Williamson or even South Africans making similar choices, you understand that these guys are just trying to provide for their families. Lara also touched on how the purpose of representing the West Indies has shifted for younger players in recent years. Quote, as far as West Indies cricket is concerned, this is one of our biggest challenges. In the past, we played first-class cricket, and some of us even county cricket, with the goal of making it into the West Indies team. Now it's almost the reverse. Players are using the West Indies team as a platform, a stepping stone to secure T20 contracts elsewhere. And to be fair, that's not the players' fault, Lara said. As West Indies cricket continues to struggle, Lara's remarks reflect a growing concern about the board's failure to adapt to the changing landscape of the game. And of course, those sentiments coming from Brian Lara, no doubt, are shared by many individuals out there in cricket land in the West Indies. And of course, the issue about the money has been there for quite some time. And if we were to go to the 2024 annual report of the WICB, according to them, they made about $23 million in revenue for the year 2024. However, when you look at that in comparison to many other cricket boards out there, you look at the likes of Sri Lanka, made about 20 million as well. Zimbabwe, 38 million. Cricket South Africa, 47 million. Bangladesh, 51 million. Pakistan, 55. England and Wales Cricket Board, the ECB, $59 million. And Cricket Australia, 79 million. And by a remarkably large margin, the richest and wealthiest of them all, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, the BCCI, made $2.25 billion in the past year. And the BCCI is, of course, the richest cricket board globally. And it gets most of its revenue from the domestic leagues like the IPL, as well as the reality that India is, in fact, the largest market in the world for cricket by, again, a very, very significant margin, where it is, in fact, the most popular sport in the world's most populous country. And you can well understand the degrees of separation between the likes of India. Of course, Australia, a very developed country, and even with that money going to the Cricket Australia, there are other domestic competitions out there which also fetch a tidy sum. But definitely, we've seen worldwide that shift towards Asia, and in particular the subcontinent, and the players in the West Indies are gravitating towards where the money is. And the big question is, how can the team itself, which of course, as was being pointed out by Lara, that's where they get their international exposure. They get their international exposure from playing for the West Indies internationally. And certainly, it's not going to help your brand as a West Indian player if your team is down in the doldrums or is going to be relegated to a second league team. So definitely there has to be some balancing of the situation in that regard, and the matter of how the game can be strengthened, especially the point being made, the longer form of the game can be in fact strengthened across the Caribbean, is certainly a major issue. Of course, the matter of the overall ecosystem for cricket, including, of course, the important role of the coaching being drawn into question by Mr. Murray, and the idea of maybe having one coach to be able to handle all forms of the game maybe a bit passé, and perhaps certainly the idea of going back to what, in fact, I think we did have at one point, where you had dedicated coaches who could really hone in their skills towards developing their areas of expertise, may certainly be another one of those matters that the Cricket West Indies and the region will have to be dealing with in timely fashion as they move forward. So no doubt lots of debate will continue on this matter. However, that's our dish of the day. We are going to take in our weather report at this time, and then we come back to a couple other matters.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. Need all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also glass, gasway, and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses, Jugrosy Lanes, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Prepare yourself for the wildest, craziest, Vaval blowout sale in Island Stars history. We're going absolutely wild with up to 60% off on ceramic and porcelain tiles. All Ruby Tools, Genesis tile strips, feeler, cleaners, and sealers. Select natural stone and travertine are 15% off with 12% off on PVC ceiling tiles. Get a whooping 50% off on all low stock. Our chipped edge tiles starts at $1 on our luxury brand. Bathtubs, vanities, toilets, faucets, and bathroom accessories are priced to go. Hurry down to our showroom at Castries, Rodney Bay, and Beaufort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. Vaval value like mad at Island Style Tile and Bath.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And that's all, of course, on the 1.1. It's now time for your weather forecast as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bath. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from the east and near 20 miles per hour or 31 kilometers per hour. The weather mostly cloudy skies with scattered light to moderate showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. There is an advisory in here which reads small craft operators and sea beavers are advised to exercise caution due to locally rough seas. The forecast for the Lesser Antilles is generally cloudy skies with light and moderate showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. The tropical weather outlook, the Atlantic high pressure system will maintain light to moderate eastern winds across the Eastern Caribbean region during the next few days. A tropical wave will cause an increase in cloudiness and showers over the region during the forecast period. Also, another tropical wave located over the far eastern tropical Atlantic is moving westward near 8 miles per hour or 13 kilometers per hour. And this has been your weather forecast as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bath.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Prepare yourself for the wildest, craziest, Vaval blowout sale in Island Stars history. We're going absolutely wild with up to 60% off on ceramic and porcelain tiles. All Ruby Tools, Genesis tile strips, feeler, cleaners, and sealers. Select natural stone and travertine are 15% off with 12% off on PVC ceiling tiles. Get a whooping 50% off on all low stock. Our chipped edge tiles starts at $1 on our luxury brand. Bathtubs, vanities, toilets, faucets, and bathroom accessories are priced to go. Hurry down to our showroom at Castries, Rodney Bay, and Beaufort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. Vaval value like mad at Island Style Tile and Bath.
Now, welcome back to our program here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. Of course, I'm not too sure if we're going to be having that Republic corner. We haven't gotten that call in as yet, but we're still going to be waiting and looking out for that. But of course, in the meantime, if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, please feel free to be able to do just that. And of course, you can call into 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. Let's go to the phone lines at this time. I think we've got a call coming in. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today? How are you doing, caller? Wonderful. Yes. Oh no, this is not Derek Murray. Sorry, no, the person who was speaking is not Derek Murray. I think you're referring to the former wicketkeeper for West Indies cricket. This is another Murray. No. Yes, Derek Murray. Yes. Also from I believe he is. I believe he is. I haven't heard anything to the contrary. Yeah, also from Trinidad. Yes. Yes, certainly. Yeah, so this gentleman is not as colorful, I suppose, in terms of his success in terms of playing for West Indies at the Test level. No, he did play some cricket, but he is also a known cricket commentator out of Trinidad. Yeah, so sorry about that confusion. Mr. Reds Pereira. We do. I suspect he might be in mourning right about now. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if he's gonna put his head over the waves. But yeah. I don't think he'd be too pleased about what's going on. Certainly. All right then. Thanks very much. Thanks very much for that comment, caller, and do have yourself a wonderful day as well. Yes, of course, there are certainly a lot of people who will be very, very upset about this situation, very emotional about the ongoing situation with respect to West Indies cricket. And of course, we've had a very long tradition of West Indies. It was West Indies cricket. And of course, it was also very important as a banner. Effectively, every West Indian cricketer was a sort of a bannerman for, or a part of an army going out to represent this region at a very, very difficult time, in terms of the treatment of people of color, coming out of the era of the 50s and the 60s. And of course, even as much as we were being put into part of this colonial, the recreation of an empire through the Commonwealth, and through which, of course, many countries were able to participate. A lot of challenges there in terms of the West Indies being able to make a point, not even just for West Indians, but really for all people of color. And many in the West Indies saw that as part of their mission when they went out to play against the larger, wealthier Commonwealth countries. And so it really represented even more than just cricket, if you like. And I think that extent of passion is perhaps no longer there in terms of that ideal that there's a point to be made in the past, and I don't know if the average West Indian cricketer of today necessarily sees it like that. So it certainly was a matter beyond patriotism. I mean, it's one thing, of course, to be going out representing your territory, representing your country, but it was more than that for many cricketers in the West Indies. And that kind of passion, could it ever be recreated? I don't know. But it certainly is where we came out of. Of course, by the 90s and beyond, the game has also evolved. We've seen a changing of the game. And as, of course, the point was being made by current CEO Chris Daring when he was on this program not too long ago, the game, in fact, has evolved to become more centered upon the style of cricket. That was where the West Indies, in fact, performed very, very well. And the faster form of the game, the sometimes very outrageous, outlandish shots that you sometimes get within T20 cricket and the one-day form of the game. So the West Indies certainly has been a major certainly thrust towards how we've transformed the game. But at the same time, the importance of being able to dominate in all forms of the game is still very much there. Test cricket still represents this great challenge between nations, having a test match, and it still represents that tremendously. It may not be where the money is anymore. Clearly it's not, and we've seen how that has changed, but there is still quite a lot of interest in many countries around the world in test cricket. In as much as India loves their IPL, they equally love test cricket, and test cricket is still very popular in places like Australia and New Zealand as well, and England, of course, as well. So it certainly is something that we somehow have to begin to see how we can inculcate that aspect still into the cultural element of the game, that ability to be able to go out there for 5 days and continue innings after innings. So certainly it is something that will take some time, no doubt, to be able to generate that kind of interest and or regenerate that kind of interest in the case of Test cricket in the West Indies. Now, on to another matter, this time on to the matter of politics and the use of phrases and phraseology, and sometimes phrases in and of themselves are not necessarily bad, but then sometimes, depending on the context and depending on how you use them, they can certainly become very, very topical. And the one that seems to now be causing some stirs is another matter coming out of an utterance of the leader of the opposition, and that is if you give peanuts, you get monkeys. Now, I suppose in most places that there is in fact a proverb that is effectively a well-established proverb. If you and the thinking there, of course, the general meaning of that is that if you pay cheaply, you therefore won't get the kind of output that you desire, right? And the idea there is that sometimes you will pay. Some people want to pay on the cheap, so to speak, right? And so they will look for the cheapest way to be able to achieve a job, right? And sometimes that does not result in a quality production. So that phrase is a known phrase, but of course sometimes it's when it is used, it can potentially lead to insult. And of course, in the instance that it was used in the case of Mr. Shasney, he was effectively referring to individuals who were selected to be part of a review committee which the government of St. Lucia put forward to look at options regarding the St. Jude Hospital. And you recall that was done sometime back in 2021, where a committee was put forward under Mr. Mark Hennicott as chair of that committee. It had a number of other individuals from different professional backgrounds, and the argument being put forward by Mr. Shasney was that his approach was that he spent the money, and so therefore the outcome of what he did was somehow superior to that of what was reckoned by this committee, because as he said it, the government put together this committee of individuals who did service pro bono, and so somehow the pro bono work that was done by this committee, in his view, generated work that was substandard or was not of the quality that he went out to get by paying nearly $1 million for a review of the St. Jude Hospital. Now, of course, this has raised a response, and in fact, I think we do have a little clip, and I maybe we should play Mr. Shasney's clip, although it's a little bit doctored, I guess you could say, because it repeats some of the things more than once, but it's not a. But we can still play it, so at least you can get a context of what was said by Mr. Shasney.
If you pay peanuts, you're going to get monkeys. That's what you're going to get. If you pay peanuts, you're going to get monkeys. That's what you're going to get. You hear that? Do you continue building the new building, or do you go back to the old building? Now, they would say to you, and they would say to all of us, that the United Workers' Party made a mistake in hiring professional people and paying them $1 million to go and do the investigation. They brought some people together who had been supporting them during the campaign to produce a report, and they paid them nothing. The people were supposed to be patriots, and they came and did this for free. If you pay peanuts, you're going to get monkeys. If you pay peanuts, you're going to get monkeys.
I think that's the general gist of what was said by Mr. Shasney. And of course, some people have suggested that it has a certain racial undertone in that regard. Now, of course, and that partly is because of how we've seen the terminology, the use of monkey in some contexts, and we think to the issues of European football in places like Italy. There have been some really horrendous situations with respect to racism against the players there. And I think that is precisely what one of the members of the committee that was looking into the St. Jude Hospital took umbrage of. And I speak of Mr. John Peters, who is a professional engineer, civil engineer, and of course has served as the chief engineer in the Ministry of Communications and Works. He's also has headed the Engineers Registration Board and served, and is of course a pretty well-known figure within his profession. And He has taken some umbrage to that, and he wrote a pendant article on his Facebook page about 8 hours ago entitled, "Mr. Chastney, this black man is not a monkey." Reads as follows. When I read the sad stories of black footballers in Europe being taunted by fans throwing bananas on the field and making monkey sounds, I never thought that in my lifetime I would have been subjected to such insults in the Caribbean. In 2025, a leader of a major political party in the Caribbean has chosen to call a group of professionals who were asked to do an evaluation of St. Jude Hospital and who decided to do this at no cost as monkeys being attracted to peanuts. John Alexander Peters refuses to be subjected to any racial slur that I am a monkey looking for peanuts. I refuse to give any credence to white supremacy in 2025, when the evidence before us is 2 Nobel Prize winners of African descent. I brought up my 2 children to believe that they are equal to anyone and to be proud of the color of their skin. We can have difference of views, but we cannot as a society slide into the sinkhole of racism. For the avoidance of doubt, the policy position of the previous government was clearly articulated in the status report dated July 21st, 2021. The clear instructions given by the government were as follows. A. Construct a new wing to incorporate the functions of the existing surgical and east wing. B. Integrate through retrofitting some existing buildings to achieve a fully functional hospital to match the services of a level 4 hospital. C. Revision of the internal layout of buildings to be integrated for functional efficacy and compliance to minimum standards. It was clear that the St. Jude Hospital at the time could not function without the completion of the existing buildings, with the exception of the surgical and east wing. A hospital requires a kitchen, a laundry, a morgue, a warehouse, and all these functions were not in the new wing. The sole decision of the evaluation committee was then whether to abandon the surgical and east wing as was previously planned, or to finish these buildings and preserve the new wing for future use. The dialysis building and the physiotherapy buildings were demolished and rebuilt so the new structures were to be incorporated. The new wing had no plumbing, no electrical, no internal walls, no elevator. The designs were not yet complete, and it was not possible to complete the ground floor only. You had to complete the entire building. After careful analysis, the team agreed to recommend the completion of the existing east wing and surgical wing and to preserve the new wing for future use by waterproofing the concrete roof and installation of the external doors and windows. I have no regrets for my contribution to the work of the evaluation committee and the many hours spent with Mark Hennicott in fine-tuning the recommendations. If the price is to be called a monkey by Mr. Alan Chastney and to be ridiculed by Mr. Guy Joseph, then this is a small price for the many lives that will be saved at St. Jude's. History will be kind to the work of the evaluation committee on St. Jude Hospital. That is my consolation. And that piece coming from Mr. John Peters as a response effectively to the statement by Mr. Chastney. Now, of course, the issue of even the report, which Mr. Chastney pointed out, was prepared by a company which it was contracted via direct award. And if I remember correctly, at the time, I think it was for $960,000, although there may have been an addendum to that for additional works. And that company was effectively paid money to come up with solutions. And I recall that one of the solutions that had been put forward by the that particular report, in fact, within it indicated that there was, in fact, a substantial amount of work done on the facility at that time. Remember, this was before any new wing had even been built as yet, and that the hospital could, in fact, have been completed. And it did give a price tag, although it gave no real breakdown as to how it came about with a figure, I think, of $100 million. That was what was put forward by the consultant, for which we paid $1 million for. And when we think about where we are at now, and remember the argument that was made by then Minister for Economic Development, Mr. Guy Joseph, was that $100 million, right, need not have been spent, and that they could have built a brand new hospital for less. That was the argument that had been put forward. As to how he determined that he could possibly do that is beyond all of us, and the reality that we have now seen is that it could not have been achieved. In fact, it was not achieved. And after spending well over $100 million on the new wing, or the south wing, or the box, or however you want to call it, it was still far, far, far away from completion. The superstructure was there, yes. Some cladding was up, yes. But as being pointed out by all those who are familiar with the building, there are no internals, no mechanical, electrical, plumbing works done, no fixtures and FF&E work in. It effectively was a shell. And again, we then saw an attempt at the 11th hour in 2021 of an idea to complete just the ground floor. As to how that was supposed to work out, and then later on somehow complete the top floor, would have been a pretty interesting task, no doubt, to be operating a running, functioning hospital below. And eventually, whenever you're supposed to complete the top floor, I don't know how that was supposed to work out. But that was the last-ditch effort that was being put forward. And that was just to try to complete, I think, another, was it 60 million just to do one floor? So could we just imagine, we're speaking about, again, after spending close to $130 million, you'd have then had to spend another close to another 120 million to be able to do just that. And so the costs kept on clearly going up. And we don't even know if that actually included hospital equipment. I think that was just to complete the infrastructure, the civil works for that floor. So that did not include external works and parking and lots of other things that had to go into that. So the idea is, how do you get to complete the hospital with the shortest possible time frame, with the best cost to be able to deliver something that is functional? And it is unfortunate, after all that we have seen with respect to that, perhaps Mr. Chasney and Mr. Joseph, who made the utterance, should take it to heart that he really should not be in a position to speak about St. Jude Hospital at this point in time. Those are the words uttered by Mr. Joseph, that he really would not have any rights to be able to speak on the matter of St. Jude. We leave that for another time. Of course, we're a little over time here at the lunchroom, and we do hope that you can join us again for another program tomorrow, to Thursday. And in the meantime, of course, do stay blessed and have a great day.